The U.S. Navy tank landing ship USS LST-340 burning after being hit by a Japanese bomb during the Japanese air raid on Guadalcanal, June 16, 1943. Portuguese soldiers with MG-42 and 11 Hong Kong dollars light machine guns in Africa during the three-front colonial war known as Guerra do Ultramar, Overseas War, 1961–1974. Lieutenant Milagros Katrina Soto, Center, and other members of the Female Anti-Air Artillery Regiment of the Cuban Army in Angola, 1980s. Embarking of French paratroopers of 11 Chalk for a parachute training jump at Tizi Ouzou, Algeria, in 1961. Communist leader Waldeck Rochet speaks at a café in La Motte Saint-Jean, France, 1950s. Vietnamese sniper from one of the French Union parachute battalions during Operation Mouette, Tonkin, Indochina, October 4, 1953. He is armed with a MAS-49 semi-automatic rifle with an APX L806 scope, common to French snipers of the time. Robert Capa, children in Barcelona pretending to be a firing squad at the dawn of the Spanish Civil War, circa 1936. Test pilot George Aird, flying a English Electric Lightning F1, ejected from his aircraft at a fantastically low altitude in Hatfield, Hertfordshire, September 13, 1962. B-2 bomber. Edwards Air Force Base in Southern California, 2003. Hitler addresses the essay in Dortmund, Germany, 1933. Stalin with Lenin, Moscow, 1922. Lake Chad as seen from Apollo 7, Africa, 1968. Vietnam on the Day of Independence, which would eventually lead to the Indochina Wars, 1945. Under a smokescreen, troops of the French 5th Colonial Infantry Division coming ashore at Marina di Campo during the invasion of Elba, June 17, 1944. French civilians erected this memorial to an American soldier killed during the Normandy invasion, Corentin, France, June 17, 1944. A photograph of Bellevue Sheep Farm September 1859 on San Juan Island circa the Pig War. The Manhattan Bridge under construction, March, 1909. Vice President Richard Nixon visited Kabul to speak with the King Zahir Shah and Prime Minister Daud Khan during his Goodwill Tour of Asia 1953. 20 years later, Daud will overthrow his cousin, and his 5 years of presidency will start a 50-year conflict in the country. Communist leader Waldeck Rochet speaks to farmers, 1955 or 1956, France. Communist leader Waldek Rochet speaks to farmers, 1955 or 1956, France. One of only 2 photographs ever taken of U.S. President Andrew Jackson, 1845. Peter Poole was one of hundreds of young British men who moved to Kenya to suppress the Mau Mau uprising. According to Robert Ruark, these men would hunt Africans with the same enthusiasm that they devoted to polo or football. British Kenya, 1960. Augusto Pinochet's $14 million presidential mansion overlooking Santiago, 1985. Pinochet intended for the mansion to become the official residence of future Chilean presidents, but his wish was overturned by his successor, who considered the compound a waste of taxpayers' money. Homes and businesses burned in Greenwood during the 1921 Tulsa Massacre. Budapest, Garibaldi Strayer, 1896. This photo was taken at an air show in 2002 at the airfield in Sknyliv. This disaster broke records for the number of victims in the air show. 77 people died. 543 people were recognized as victims. U-Boat 110, a German submarine that was sunk and risen in 1918. This photograph shows the control room looking forward, including views of the submarine's depth gauge, engine telegraphs, hand wheels to flooding and blowing valves and wheels to work forward and aft hydroplanes. In 1962, an order was issued to demolish the statue of Stalin in Prague, the largest in the world, with the instruction, destroy it without much noise. Its destruction should be quick and as invisible as possible to as few people as possible. Therefore, a wooden fence was built. Palestinian Young Soldiers in Beirut, 1975, from the documentary series on Lebanon. All clearings on the island were filled with sharp stakes to prevent airborne landings by Soviet commandos. Saari, Finland, April 27, 1942. A U.S. Army jeep passing a bridge, demolished by retreating German forces, under repair by Army engineers north of Rome, June 18, 1944. An American self-propelled howitzer M7 Priest of the 14th Armored Field Artillery Battalion, 2nd Armored Division in Corentin, Normandy, France, June 18, 1944. Druze militia in Beirut in 1976. The Progressive Socialist Party, which can be considered a Druze party, was initially reluctant to paramilitary involvement. King Amanullah Khan and Queen Soraya of Afghanistan visited Berlin, Germany in February 1928. After this visit, he changes the flag and began to slowly but steadily modernize the country. Bedouin Mother, Saudi Arabia, 1948. Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels inspects some of the very last defenders of the Third Reich, 1945. U.S. Marines pull down a statue of Saddam Hussein in the center of Baghdad, April 9, 2003. Jane Delafoy, famous writer and archaeologist who uncovered Persian Susa, 1907. She regularly wore men's clothes, which was illegal for women unless they had a permit to wear pants, which she did, a law which remained on the books until 2013. A soldier with a pack reindeer on slippery ice near the tiny village of Nautsi in northern Lapland, Finland, on October 26, 1941. Ivory workers carving a tusk, Calcutta, British India, 1903. Israeli female soldier with a Uzi submachine gun and the female services bonnet during Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Chaim Bar-Lev, visit to the induction center at Tel HaShomer base in Bakum, November 24, 1968. Sergeant Thomas Dawson with his daughter, 1855. Dawson lost his left arm at the Battle of Inkerman. Photographs such as this were influential in focusing public attention onto the impact of war on the individual and the family unit. Body Zone at the Millennium Dome, now the O2 Arena, London, 2000. German Emperor Wilhelm II inspecting troops of the Imperial German Army, 1918. Cartoonist Jim Davis, creator of the feline character Garfield. Garfield made its nationwide debut in 41 newspapers on June 19, 1978, 1998. New Zealand representatives at the International Court of Justice seeking a ban on French nuclear testing in the Pacific, 1973. Crowning of Janusz Queek for the Gypsy King in Warsaw, 1937. The Queeks were the wealthy Kalderash family who, before World War II, tried to take over the power in Polska Roma. They had no respect among their subjects. U.S. Navy Grumman F-6F Hellcat pilot Lieutenant Junior Grade Alexander Vrashu holds up 6 fingers after shooting down 6 Japanese aircraft during the Battle of the Philippines aka Great Marianas Turkey Shoot, on June 19, 1944. Taken on the flight deck of the USS Lexington. Croatian Army officers. They were standing next to an M36 tank destroyer that was used during the defense of Dubrovnik in the Croatian War of Independence against the Yugoslav Armed Forces, December 1991. Arnold Schwarzenegger having a cigar and a beer during the filming of Red Heat, 1988. Jane Delafoy in her study, France, 1893. She was a famous writer who, with her husband, excavated ancient Persian Susa. For SS men pose for a group photo in the Treblinka extermination camp, 1940s. Guy Rothschild and Marie-Helene de Rothschild, The Rothschilds' Surrealist Ball, 1972. American soldiers looking down at Vietnamese civilians during the My Lai massacre, 1968. Newly elected Pope John Paul I meets Cardinal Karol Wojtyla, Archbishop of Krakow, the future Pope John Paul II. John Paul I's papacy lasted on 33 days and was succeeded on October 16, 1978 by Wojtyla, John Paul II. Rocky Marciano meets Dominican dictator Rafael Trujillo, 1950s. Argentina fans celebrate on the street with flags after winning the FIFA World Cup final against the Netherlands. Buenos Aires, Argentina, 1978. Finnish anti-tank infantryman advancing up a hill with a Lodi L-39 anti-tank rifle, June 20, 1943. Bosnian guard armed with a Zastava M70 assault rifle. He was escorting the bride and groom at a wedding in Sarajevo. During the Bosnian War and breakup of Yugoslavia, 1993. Registration of Jewish citizens in Amsterdam during the raid or roundup of June 20, 1943, who were then deported to the Westerbork camp.